What's up, everyone? It's Kanan.
It's Jessie.
And we are the Geeky Sane Couple. And welcome to part 2 of our favorite ships, Pride Month edition. This will be our final video for Pride Month this year, which it's going up on the last day of June, so that's going to happen anyway. This video got delayed a little bit because we had not really internet problems this time. It was YouTube studio problems. Like our Bumblebee video, just the studios just did not like that video as far as uploading it. Like, it kept giving Jess problems, but we finally got it up. It went up later than we wanted to, but that's how it goes. Yesterday's video, which was another episode of Internet Mysteries, was supposed to go up on Tuesday. It's just went up. It's probably not going to go up until the same day this does. So
this is kind of like an extra bonus outside of what we originally planned. We have so many ships that we like. So we decided to add more. I had already been thinking about it before we even started the other video. So we decided to add another one as a bonus part 2. So
yeah.
That way we ended up having 4 videos. Because like I said, it wasn't the initial plan. We didn't want the other video to be terribly long. So
yeah,
better just add a part 2.
So in this one, we have got, I believe, 15 more ships. The part 1 was mostly WLW with 2 MLM ships. It was Sun and Neptune from Ruby and Male Inquisitor and Dorian from Dragon Age Inquisition. This one is all MLM ships. Now, these are from series that we actually are part of. And there's some that I know a little bit more than Jess does, and there's some that she knows more about than I do. And then there's some where we ship it just because we like the 2 characters and we think they look great together. So this is ships from video games, some cartoons and anime, and one of Jess's personal favorites is from a book series that she reads. So let's get to it. The first one, just like the first one, this is going to be, at first, a lot of BioWare ships. So here we go. The first one up is Shepard and Steve Cortez, mostly from Mass Effect 3, because Cortez was only in Mass Effect 3. Now, sadly, Steve Cortez is a side, like, not really a side character, but he's not a squad mate. So, and a lot of people feel like the squad mate romances get a lot more than the non-squad members, but him and Samantha Trainer, who was also a romance option just for female Shepard in Mass Effect 3, they got a good bit of content.
Yeah, they were there. They're there quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I mean,
especially
even if they're not squad mates, they're there a lot.
Especially thanks to the DLC, the Citadel DLC. So Steve has a very interesting story. He actually had a husband who was abducted by the Collectors pretty much during the events of Mass Effect 2. And at the beginning of the game, he is still mourning, but like they kind of make it seem like enough times went by that he's starting to move on, but there's still part of it he just can't. Like, there's a conversation you can have with him on the Normandy where you go down to where he is, and he is listening to the final message his husband sent him when he was being abducted by the Collectors, and he told him, you know, I love you, but don't make me an anchor, Steve. You know, he's pretty much telling him, don't, like, am I interpreting this right? Like, don't like mourn me forever.
Yeah, don't hold on and not be happy yourself.
Yeah.
Because he knew that he obviously knew there was nothing he could do. There was nothing that was going to save it, but him getting that final message to him, you know, pretty much saying, take your time, but don't stay here holding on to me. Yeah.
Now
he wants him to be happy, in other words.
Now you get that scene whether you're male or female Shepard. Like, Shepard can help Steve no matter what, whether you pursue him romantically or platonically, you can still help him move on and start living his life and becoming happier. But if you do choose to, as male Shepard, you can romance him, and pretty much it's a beautiful relationship in that you see Steve becoming happier during the events of the game. And, depending on what ending you choose, it kind of seems like he has a sad ending once again if you do romance him and you choose either control or synthesis. But I was really shocked about how awesome this romance is, because at first I was worried that it just would not have a whole lot because he is not a squad member, and BioWare games, like I said, have this tendency originally back in the day. They've done better jobs recently with recent games where if they're not a squad member, it just seemed like there just wasn't enough there. But all in all, great romance. I love it. It's one of my favorite MLM relationships in the at all, in any BioWare game. And if you've not ever played as Mel Shep and romance Steve, you should. It's a really good romance. So moving on, Mel Shep and Kaidan. Now I kind of did I included this also because of a shout out to a friend of ours who cosplays Kaidan.
An amazing Kaidan at that.
Yeah, and every time she knows that we're playing Mass Effect, she'll send us both a message saying, "Don't kill me." So
we haven't.
Well,
you've played through so many times though.
Yeah, back in the day, I always chose Ashley. I don't know why. I just did. There have been a few times where I've saved Kaidan, but since I'm more of a FemShep player, I've never played the romance, but I have watched it, and it's strange. I remember being shocked that Kaidan was added as a romance for Mel Shep in Mass Effect 3 because he was a romance option in Mass Effect 1, but he was only available to female Shepard. And fans kind of took that in a role-playing way of saying that Shepard and Kaidan always had an attraction to each other. They just never acted upon it starting in Mass Effect 1. But then a lot of players were also kind of upset that, from what I've seen, I've not watched both romances back to back, so it's hard to say, but many claim that Kaidan does not have as many scenes with male Shepard as he does with female Shepard. So a few people accused BioWare of just tagging it on, but who really knows? But it's funny, Shepard and Kaidan already have this history together at the beginning of Mass Effect 1, really, because they've kind of been serving together. So it it does hit its snag because of Shepard once working with Cerberus, and both, whether Kaidan's alive or if Ashley's alive, they both pretty much don't trust Shepard at the beginning of it anymore. So there is a bit of it kind of does build for a good romance story because they hit a speed bump that they need to get over to pursue their relationship. So it's a great relationship. I just wish there was more to it, but it's Kaidan. There's a lot of people that love Kaidan, so I am happy that they did add this. So, moving on to another BioWare ship, we have got Hawk and Fenris from Dragon Age 2. So, I will admit, when I first played Dragon Age 2, I didn't care for Fenris that much starting off, because he was just this really angry, brooding character that just seemed like no matter what you picked in a dialogue option, he just was just
a Snickers bar.
Yeah. But as you continue playing and play his character quests and then do his romance, you start to peel that back. You see a very touching relationship really starting to develop. And it's really interesting seeing this romance play out if Hawk is a mage, because being a former Teventer slave, he doesn't have a very high opinion of mages. So it's kind of interesting to see him fall in love with someone that is pretty much something he despises, that he hates. But as you play, sadly, one of his character quests is very easy to miss, especially if you don't use him in your party, because he has to be in your party to unlock it. And I missed it the very first time I played Dragon Age 2, so he didn't stay loyal to me at the end. But you know, that's what a first playthrough is for. You make mistakes and you learn from them.
Mine was terrible.
Oh yeah, if you're wondering what happened to the buy flag, Jess lost her buy flag.
It got misplaced, so...
Yeah, I completely forgot to mention that at the beginning of the video, that's the reason why the buy flag is not up in this one. So yeah, it, like, starts off really rough, but eventually becomes a very touching romance story, so definitely look into that one. Then from Dragon Age Inquisition, we probably have my second, it's either second or third. I think Dorian and Male Inquisitor kind of fall to third for me, and Dorian and Iron Bull are second up there. Sometimes they're my favorite just because of how amazing... Okay, so I originally, first playing Dragon Age Inquisition, I did not know this could happen. Because I did have a Male Inquisitor and Dorian romance playthrough planned, but my first one was, of course, Female Inquisitor and Sarah, because I love to play as female characters. And, I did, so of course I didn't romance Iron Bull or Dorian, but I had them in my party. It was Female Inquisitor, Sarah, Dorian, and Iron Bull. The most fun squad you can have in Inquisition. They are so great to have. And then as I'm playing, they start, Iron Bull just says, Dorian, about last night. I'm like, oh, what? Because, sadly, the whole romance plays out through banter. So, but yes, if you do not romance either of them, they become a couple. Now,
hey, the party banter in Dragon Age
is amazing. Yeah. So you learn that they hook up for one night, and Dorian claims it's because he drank too much. Because you got to remember, the Qunari and Tevinter are at war. They've been at war for years. So at first they don't exactly get along too well, because not only is Iron Bull Qunari and he's faithful to the Qun at the beginning of the game, and depending on if he stays with the Qun or becomes Tal Vashoth is up to you. But when Dorian first shows up, if you go the mage route in Inquisition, and if Iron Bull's with you, he'll say, careful, it's always the pretty ones that'll, turn on you or something like that. So yeah, they don't get along very well at first. But then, Bull asks him, do you want your silky under things back? Or are they kind of a token? And then he goes, wait, unless you left them so you'd have an excuse to come back, you sly dog, And then Dorian's words are like, if you leave your door unlocked like a savage, I may I may or may not come. And Bull says, speak for yourself. But it eventually grows into a very caring relationship, to where, Iron Bull starts calling Dorian Kadan, which, if I remember correctly, stands for my heart. And Dorian starts calling Iron Bull, where is it? Amatus. I forgot what that means, but pretty much it's pretty much a story of two people who go from hooking up to actually falling in love. And, Dorian being, well-mannered and but still kind of snarky. He's got a very snarky personality, and Iron Bull he's a goof in a lot of ways, but they just gel so well. Also, Iron Bull and the Inquisitor, whether you're male or female, has one of the funniest scenes ever when Cullen, Josephine, and I think Leliana walk in, and Iron Bull and the Inquisitor Iron Bull's naked. And there's just a lot of comments about Iron Bull's package. It's a very funny scene. Go watch it. Especially Cullen's reaction. But anyway, at the end of the day, probably my most favorite MLM pairing in Dragon Age. It's like every time, like I almost have to romance someone else because I want these two to get together because it's a beautiful relationship. Like it literally becomes love in its purest sense. Okay, next, Sora and Riku from Kingdom Hearts. Now, me and Jess have been Kingdom Hearts fans for years. I became a fan back when the first one came out on the PlayStation 2. I was a freshman in high school when Kingdom Hearts 1 came out for the PlayStation 2. Boy, in 2002, how old am I?
That, and we've talked about, we've mentioned several times that Kingdom Hearts was our first conversation.
Yes, Kingdom Hearts is how me and Jess met and eventually how we ended up getting together. Now, this is probably for Sora my second favorite ship for him. Technically, we are Kairi and Sora people because that kind of seems where the story is going, but that's not to say Sora and Riku don't have legitimate reasons to where they could be together. I remember, I think for the longest time, I don't know why, I shipped Sora and Yuffie. I don't know why. It was just like one of those random ships. But,
there's a lot of those.
Yeah, especially in Kingdom Hearts. Because, no one expected Disney and Square to do pretty much a Disney and Final Fantasy crossover in a way. But Sora and Riku is a very special relationship because there is a lot of love there, whether it's romantic or not. And, it's so funny because in Kingdom Hearts 1, Riku goes through the whole a friend who's led astray, who turns to the dark side, but then eventually, does come back. And really, it was wild because, really, I started realizing Kairi, for the longest time, did not have a huge part in Kingdom Hearts. It was mostly a Sora and Riku story in a lot of ways. Now, of course, Kairi does have her plot and all that there. But, I'll never forget playing Kingdom Hearts 2 for the first time. Seeing the Sora and Kairi hug, yeah, that was great and all, but the reunion between Sora and Riku was pretty intense. But then again, Sora's went this whole entire time not knowing where Riku is. With Kairi, at first, he knew she was on the island safe, and then he found out she got kidnapped and all that. But Riku, he had no idea. Last time he saw him he was on the other side of the door when him and Mickey closed it. So he had no idea where Riku was. And, other things like, moments in Dream Drop Distance, the fact that they were both the playable characters, and then scenes in even Kingdom Hearts 3. There's a lot there, and it's a great relationship. It's a pure relationship, whether there is some romance there or if it's just friendship. It's one of the driving forces of Kingdom Hearts, really. It really is. So
friendship and love is a huge. They make it obviously known. That's a huge thing in Kingdom Hearts. So
yeah.
It's to see them with a relationship like that again. Also, romantic or not, it's very powerful.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see here I am, a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, and I've still not finished Melody of Memory. But there are rumors that apparently we're going to get some news in next year for Kingdom Hearts. So I'm interested to see where the plot goes, because the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 kind of hinted that it's going to be Sora and Riku again in some way. So I'm interested. I'm really interested in what they're going to do and how this relationship is going to progress. So next is a Genshin Impact pairing, and that is Kaya and Diluc. Now, I will have to admit, Kaya is a very attractive person. And the very first interaction these two had,
a lot of people that like Diluc as well.
Yeah.
So
the first interaction these two had, I forgot which mission. I think it was I think it was the first mission you went on with Kaya at the very beginning of the game, and D-Luke shows up, and I was like, fire and ice. I ship it.
Wasn't it the one where D-Luke?
Well, I think it's the mission where after it you automatically recruit Kaya. I think it's at the very beginning. I'm not sure.
I know. I know.
It's been a long time since I've started. Since I originally started Genshin
I can't
Impact.
remember, but I know that they interact because when they're in his tavern, when they about him being the one that's been stopping everybody. I can't remember the name of that mission, but I know I can play it out in my head. That's about it.
And like, it's funny, we didn't include any Genshin ships in the first one because there's so many. And like,
everybody obviously knows at this point that I love Lisa.
Yeah, you ship Lisa with almost everybody.
The pirate one, I can't pronounce her name right.
I can't either. I've never been able to pronounce her name right. It starts with a B. I'm sure everyone knows if they play Genshin Impact.
Yeah, well, she's going to be the second one I cosplay. So.
That's one ship we probably should have included in the part one, was her and I can't pronounce her name either, the blonde-haired.
Yeah.
Everyone ships those two. Hardcore. But these two, like, the moment their first interaction, I was like, I ship it. I want it to happen.
Fire and ice.
Yeah, fire and ice. Like, it's pretty much... Like, you could do things with that. Like, seriously. Though when D-Luke first showed up, I didn't expect his voice to be so deep. I don't know why, but,
to me, it fits, so, I mean...
Yeah, but, like, when I first started Genshin, I picked the sister, of course, but when Kaya showed up, I was like, maybe I should have played as the brother. But, because Kaya was like, wow, okay, I will admit, that is an attractive guy. Moving on. Male, Byleth, and Yuri from Three Houses. Sadly, this is like the only official artwork that shows these together. Like, male Byleth is halfway cut out. But you can ask Jess. I hardcore ship this. Like, I constantly look for fan fiction that... I love fan fiction of Three Houses where both male and female Byleth exist, and they're like siblings, and I'm constantly looking for female Byleth and Edelgard plus male Byleth and Yuri, because this is my favorite male Byleth ship. I do wish, though, that they would have made Dimitri and Claude romances for him as well. Sadly, they didn't do it, but hopefully this is a sign that the next Fire Emblem will have even more LGBT choices in the future, because let's admit it, Three Houses rocked as a video game. Like, it's personally my 2019 game of the year. It is so, like, it's so popular this day. People are still posting artwork and fan fictions and all that. But the thing about Yuri was that I looked at Jess and I was like, I like him a lot. So I've still not done a playthrough because I don't want to start another playthrough of Three Houses until I finish my Let's Play, because I need to finish that. But just I'm hardcore shipping this. Like, the moment he was confirmed to be an S support for male Byleth, I was like, thank you, because let's admit it, when the game launched, it was really lacking in male S supports, like, bad. Like, it was almost embarrassing. I was like, I can't believe that. But, yeah, male Byleth and Yuri, probably, it is my top male Byleth ship, with a other male, definitely. Okay, so that's it for video games. We are heading into cartoons and anime. This first one is a personal favorite of mine. It's from an anime that I first watched, back in the early 2000s, I think. Jess is watching it for the first time. She's falling in love with it.
Yes, I've already talked of cosplay.
Yeah.
Episode 1.
Yeah.
That's how you know I fall in love with something, is if I need to cosplay that.
And that is Hiei and Kurama from Yu Yu Hakusho. Now, apparently, the creator of Yu Yu Hakusho originally was going to legit have them be lovers, but decided not to. And that's really a shame, because there's some parts in the anime where it's like,
would fit.
yeah, for sure. Like, big time. Like, there are so many times where Kurama tops Hiei so bad, it's like, you know, it's almost like, calm down, you know, in a way.
And Kurama's one of my
She's fallen in love with Kurama.
Yes, and the fact, like, that his power and everything, I mean, it also connects to, in more than one way, Sailor Moon.
Yeah, she said she was like, the moment he pulled out the robe, she was like, oh, Tuxedo Mask vibes.
But it also kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and the fact that, well, yeah, the creator of Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yes, is married to the creator of Sailor Moon, so
yeah.
It kind of fits.
And it's funny, when Hiei was first announced and was first introduced in the show, I was like, he's pretty much Yu Yu Hakusho's version of Vegeta. He's a bad guy that eventually becomes a good guy.
Yeah, and I pointed that out pretty quick when you mentioned it too. I was like, yeah, I can see it.
Well, you kind of already know, because he's in the intro with Yusuke
but
and
just
all
like when you start to see how he is,
yeah,
it's like, yeah.
Yeah, he's
That's
very
pretty clear.
antagonistic in a lot of ways, and he kind of has that rivalry with Yusuke that kind of fades as the series goes on. He doesn't stick on it like Vegeta does for, like, God, half of the series, or over half. He doesn't fully accept that, you know, he's always going to be a step behind Goku till, like, the Buu arc. But now we're in Super, and heck, he's matching Goku most of the time.
He still has his moments to act his way, but we've learned that's Vegeta's way of just, you know, his way of loving others.
Yeah. But, yeah, Hiei and Kurama, like, it's funny. I think Yu Yu Hakusho was one of the first animes where, like, I don't really connect. Like, Yusuke's a great character in his own way, but I don't connect with him. He's the only main character where I'm just not, like, 100% get invested in. It was always these two. I always loved Kurama and Hiei. I would have been happy if they were, like, the main protagonists a little bit, if it had followed them more. Especially Kurama, because Kurama's got such a interesting backstory and all that. Also, the fact that his demon form, he's a fox.
Yeah, that was another thing that I really liked. But, like, besides Kurama, the first character I fell in love with the first episode was Botan.
Yeah.
So, I need to cosplay her.
Sad thing is, Yusuke would be such an easy cosplay, but I cannot pull off the greasy, swept back look, the greaser look that he pretty much has. I mean, I prefer him when he's got his hair, when it's not gelled up and it's actually down a bit. I think he looks better that way. But yes, Hiei and Kurama.
No, Grease cosplays in the future.
Do you really think I could pull off
Danny?
John Travolta at that point? I don't think so. But anyway, yeah, Hiei and Kurama, probably one of my definite big anime ships for sure. Next, we're moving into Ruby, and this next one is a little controversial, but that doesn't mean you still can't ship it. And that is Crow and Clover.
I know there's two ship names, but I like Lucky Charms.
I do too. I love the name Lucky Charms. That was my favorite new ship name.
As soon as I saw them interact, I was like I remember our first Jessie. Is he flirting with him?
Yeah. Like, okay, so for our non-Ruby watchers, Crow was a character that was introduced in Volume 7. He's pretty much based off the Lucky Fisherman from...
Crow, you mean Clover.
Yeah.
You said Crow.
Well, I meant Clover, yeah. Yeah, what am I thinking? It's late. Clover was first introduced, and you did say it was the Lucky Fisherman, right? From the...
Because when we looked through, we pinned through all of that, and yes, he's the Lucky Fisherman.
And, like, there was a lot of interactions between him and Crow that you could see as... like flirting in a way. Now, we did a video, God, like during the first year of the channel, back when we probably had less than 200 subscribers, maybe less than 100 at that time. It was our top 8 favorite Ruby ships, not including Bumblebee, and this was one of the ones on. I think it was like, what, number 2 or 3?
Yeah, it was somewhere up in the very top.
And one of the things, but in that video we stated, remember, romantic relationships in Ruby take a long time to develop. Because let's admit it, you know, Ren and Nora have been a thing since Volume 1. Bumblebee really started taking off around Volume 2 and 3, and now we're in going into Volume 9, and, you know, things are still progressing. So I was like, let's see what happens by the end of this volume. Because I always said it could either be romance or it could be just a really close friendship, because Crow's semblance is misfortune. That's why he distances himself from his loved ones, because his semblance will cause misfortune to himself and others. Clover's just so happens to be good fortune, and so it balanced it out. Crow finally found someone that if he stuck with him, he could be around his family, he could be around his friends, not have to worry about putting them in danger. But then chapter 12 happened.
I cried.
Yeah. Crow and all the good guys pretty much are listed as fugitives, and without even asking any questions, Clover tries to arrest Crow. Now, there was also another person there named Tyrion, who's a serial killer, a psychotic serial killer. And
my hatred for him grew even more after that episode.
Yeah, Tyrion pretty much manipulated the fight because of these two also fighting each other at that time, and used Crow's weapon to kill Clover. And to say the fandom was upset is a very big understatement.
I did get one, I did call one thing from the beginning when we knew that happened, and was his.
Yeah, Crow still to this day has Clover's pendant, which is his symbol,
and it's
a 4-leaf clover and something else on it.
It was like kind of
So
the shape reminded me of like a suit of arms.
Yeah, and like we're kind of thinking that maybe somehow, in some way, Crow holding on to that is going to keep Clover's good fortune around, hopefully.
The one thing that I think of also is that another reason that, because the way Crow used to look at his semblance and everything with the misfortune, he didn't think that anything could change it. So then when he met, he's still obviously dealing with it and not, but when he met Clover, he saw, yeah, that could balance it, he could be around him, just like you said.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I think Crow's not seeing yet is that, yeah, that is his semblance, but there's got to be something else that he can balance it with himself, too. And I think Clover was trying to also show him that through talks. Another thing, it was nice to see, yeah, we've seen flirting and all that through other characters in RWBY, but since these two are both technically, you know, they're obviously adults, they're older, it was different interactions.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a nice difference to see older characters
Crow,
compared to the younger ones.
Yeah, because Crow was in the midst of going through a midst character change at this point. And also, like...
And that was resulting, even before he met Clover, like the drinking and all that, he changed.
Yeah.
And that was to lead into this, and now he's struggling to not fall back.
And a lot of people have noticed that, you know, in the background of Clover's death scene and Crow mourning him, it did look like the bicolors. So
it did. Which I wouldn't be surprised with the way Crow's character is.
Yeah.
I mean,
like it might be more, because like the fandom, like the stuff the fandom were saying to RWBY got so bad. Was it Caden who came out and said the stuff about Clover?
I can't remember.
But a member of RWBY did come out and say that Clover was never meant to be seen that way. But I mean, that does not mean you can't ship it, and that does not mean you can't enjoy it. Which is why we still love this ship.
Yeah. I mean, I actively still search for stories with these two in them. Yeah. So it's
like what I just said. That's RWBY's words, not mine. But yeah, this was one of definitely our favorite ships that came out of Volume 7. It sucks the way it ended. But I
like remembering what did happen, because it's definitely a step forward once Crow gets over things. this could help him still continue, even if Clover's not there.
Yeah, which I think
it's just going to take time for him to understand that.
But I think things are going to get worse for Crow for a little bit longer, because now he thinks Ruby and Yang are dead.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's going to take him time with everything
I just hope he doesn't relapse.
I'd like to think he wouldn't at this point.
I think that's why Robin's there now. Like, she is going to help keep him.
She's that turning point to keep his balance.
I don't know if Crow and Robin are going to be romantic, but it doesn't have that kind of feeling yet, though. But we'll see. Next is another Ruby pairing, and it's one I actually do kind of like, and that is Jean and Ren. And
that scene is so funny.
Yes, like
it's just.
Really, if you look at it, for them to be on the same team, Jean and Ren have never had that many interactions. This was like one of the very first ones, and it was in Volume 2. And it was awkward, but it was cute and funny at the same time. Because you can tell Ren is so uncomfortable.
And he's so desperate to have his
clothes.
Yeah. He kept looking at him like, can I just... grab those.
But a driving thing for this ship is from Ruby Chibi, and as the spin the bottle episode. Jean spins the bottle, and it starts spinning. It starts to slow down, and Pyrrha gets excited, but it passes her. It looks like it's going to stop on Weiss. Jean gets excited. It stops on Ren. And what does Ren do? He slowly looks at Jean. He pulls out, like, what do they call them? The
mouth spray.
Yeah, he pulls out some mouth
or
spray.
Breath spray or something like that.
And he was all in. So, a lot of people, like, yes, Ruby Chibi, sorry, my nose is itching. Ruby Chibi is not canon, of course, but of course, like we said, there's always little...
But they can do they have
little hints and stuff,
and they can do things, they've even said they can do things that they couldn't really throw into the show.
So I was like...
Well,
Ren might not be straight. So, but yes, he is in a relationship with Nora now. So,
which we also love.
Yes, but I just ever since I saw that scene in Chibi, I was like, okay, yeah, I could go for that. Plus, there was this scene which was absolutely hilarious. And then a lot of people are still wondering if Jean is bisexual or if what he is. Because so far he's only shown interest in Weiss, and then there was the thing with Pyrrha, so we don't know yet. But hey, only time will tell. Because ever since Pyrrha, they've not really done much with Jean as far as romance. Who's to say if they will again? Because a lot of people are saying that they don't want him to move on from Pyrrha. But we'll see. But yeah, I like the ship a lot. The next one is another ship with Jean from Volume 7. I couldn't find a very good picture of this. It's a little blurry, but that is Jean and Marrow, and it is mostly, because
I love that scene too.
of this scene and the fact that it's a running joke that Marrow calls Jean Juan. I don't know why, but I think someone said this ship's name is Guard Dog, which I really don't like, but I think the moment this happened, people started shipping Marrow with Jean, and I did like it because it was cute. It showed them growing closer because it went from Jean getting his coffee and Marrow giving him pretty much.
Can I have that?
Pretty much giving him the puppy dog eyes, and he's like, take it. And then eventually them sharing their own coffee together. I'm guessing it's coffee unless they're drinking hot chocolate or something. But
I'm betting it's coffee because that's probably how early that is.
Yeah, not much to say about this ship because there's not that many interactions. I just like the whole running joke of him calling John Juan, and this scene right here. It was cute. For me. This was enough ship material to at least put them together. Now, the next one is solely based on a Ruby Chibi skit, and that is Crow and Tai. Because this whole scene right here, it was pretty much two parents squabbling. Was it not?
Yes.
Your noodles were undercooked anyway. How dare you? It was... I was like, oh my gosh, they're really doing the two dads thing. Because there's been a lot of people who have drawn artwork of Crow and Tai raising Ruby and Yang themselves. It may get a little messy if like, have we ever found out if Ty and Raven legit got married, or did they just have a kid together?
I don't think we know yet. We don't know enough about the team, so we're still waiting on that part.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'm sure we'll get.
And plus, there's the whole running joke that Team Stark literally, like,
fell all over each other.
Yeah, like, Ty had a thing with Raven, but he also had a thing with Summer, and then he also had a thing with Crow, and that Crow and Summer got involved together, and Summer and Raven got, you know, the only thing you don't do is Crow and Raven, because gross. But it's almost like, man, the Bronwyn twins, they enjoyed their teammates. But yeah, like, this little thing, like, and like, the reason why I use this as a picture is because we've only seen them on screen together once, and it was in Volume 3, and like, they were never perfectly in frame together.
Yeah.
So I use this instead, because like, this was literally, they're meeting with Ozpin because Ruby and Yang have done something. It's pretty much called the parents in. And yeah, Crow is their uncle, but like I said, we don't, to this day, don't know if Ty and Raven ever actually formally got married, or if they just had a kid together.
But since, obviously, Summer's not there or anything, this would be the logical choice. Okay, we've got, you know, Ty, and then, obviously, Crow follows after them to protect them anyway, so,
yeah. So
parents.
So, yeah, it's almost like a whole, you know, Ty, you stay home, I'll watch after the kids, you know, in a way. So, yeah, a lot of people ship this. A lot of people love the thought of, you know, because, like, there's this cute artwork of a young Ruby and Yang wearing Crow and Ty's clothes, and they're all big on them and all that. And I think Ty's crying, and I forgot what Crow's doing. But then there's another one. It's
been a while since I've seen that one.
But then there's
talked about.
Yeah, and then there's another one, I think, of them, and they've got Ruby and Yang in like those baby carriers that parents can wear.
Yeah.
There's that, like, so it's a very popular headcanon that Ty and Crow have kind of become the two dads of Ruby and Yang. So, you know, to me, it's almost like it should be a thing, pretty much. Okay, the next one is from The Legend of Korra, and I sometimes think this ship came about because people didn't want Mako to be alone, and that is Mako and Wu. Now, so yeah, Wu was only shown interest in two girls that he obviously couldn't have, which was Asami and Korra, because by the time he comes around, Asami and Korra are already, like, you know,
a thing,
like, you know, starting to fall for each other, pretty much. And Bolin is with Opal, which is my second favorite ship of The Legend of Korra. Mako is all on his own, so, I mean, it was like the fandom kind of started shipping them out of necessity, in a way.
Because he needs somebody not to be alone.
Yeah. Which, like, you could headcanon it to being like, you know, Mako being the long-suffering boyfriend because of Wu's antics and all that. And it's almost like, it's a line that Mako says in the show. Like, if they were together and they were starting, like, they were on a date or something, and Wu said something really romantic or whatever, and then said something stupid, Mako would be like, "You've always got to ruin it."
Yeah.
I was hoping with the graphic novels and all that, they would maybe give us something, or at least do something with Mako, but they've really not, because, like, I think it's because his relationships with Asami and Korra were so disastrous that they decided we need to keep him single for a long time. And really, Mako did become a better person through books 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Because I remember the first time I showed you books 1 and 2, you got to where you couldn't stand Mako.
Yeah, I got to, like, I don't remember where we were, and I looked at you, I hate him.
Yeah. I think it's when he started getting back with Asami, but then didn't tell Korra that they broke up in book 2. Like, I think that was the breaking point for you.
Yeah, and I hate him. I think that's exactly what I said.
That wasn't the smartest thing. I think he had good intentions, at least, I think. But yeah, that blew up in his face big time. But yeah, anytime, like, after Korrasami became canon, any fan fiction I read, it was all everyone always put, it was Korra and Asami, Bolin and Opal, and Mako and Wu. And there was this great artwork that came out around that time. It was all of them dressed in like modern clothing. It looked like they were all going out on a big group date. And it had Wu like hanging on Mako's shoulder, and Mako's just like, he's already annoyed. But so yeah,
it wouldn't be Mako if he wasn't annoyed at something.
Yeah. So that's a favorite ship from The Legend of Korra. Now these next two is mostly Jess. So the next one is from Sailor Moon, and you pronounce
it's Fiore.
Yeah, and Mamoru from Sailor Moon. Now, okay, so
anyone that knows me knows where my ships are, like my biggest ships are.
But you can't deny.
You can't deny this.
Yeah. Because, I remember the first time I saw this movie, it was in a theater, because they were showing it, and she had me go with her, and I'm sitting there this whole entire movie, and at first I'm like, okay, so what's this guy's beef? Like, why is he doing what he's doing? And then this movie went on, and I was like, oh, he's in love with him. Like, you can't tell me otherwise. He is literally jealous of Sailor Moon throughout the whole entire movie.
And then there's multiple reasons, obviously, for it, but, I mean, you can definitely see that there is something there, at least on his side.
There was no way.
Deny it.
I think I even looked at you in the theater. I was like, do people ship these two? Because I'm seeing it.
Yeah, they do.
Hardcore. And, I mean, it's one of those hard ships because it's a good guy and a villain who, tries to destroy the world and hurt people and all that. But I'm just...
And obviously, in the end, you realize why. I mean... They
kind of make him sympathetic,
and
in a way.
Well, the thing is he also doesn't understand, once he gets memories back of things, he realizes, okay, I've gone about this a bit wrong. And there's a few villains like that in Sailor Moon, and that's how it turns out. And, come on, not all villains are going to end up dead or bad, stay bad. So
yeah, it seems like Sailor Moon's got a lot of villains who
there's a few that they were able to turn them back or put them back into a place where they could continue on the right path. Which I like that you don't kill all of them, because obviously it shows that there was good in them anyways. I mean, you don't need just straight evil.
But yeah, his as it went on, I was like, okay, his motivation is that he's in love with him, and I know it's not the main reason, but I'm sitting there the whole time thinking he wants Sailor Moon dead just because he wants him. That's what it felt like.
I thought of another one that we probably should have added to the other, and it's not deniable when you see this. In Stars, Seiya and Usagi, there's definitely, because Mamoru's not there, and through the whole thing you don't know why until later, but it's undeniable that they're a high ship too. So I mean, it's kind of the same thing. It's very
Which
obvious.
character is that again?
Seiya. It's one of the Starlights.
Okay, yeah, she knows Sailor Moon way better than I do.
You haven't got to see that one yet since we haven't seen Crystal.
Well, that part of Crystal. You've got the rest of it.
I've got the rest of them. You just haven't watched that.
Okay, so... Wow, this video turned out being way longer than I thought it would. Okay, the last one. This is from a book series that Jess reads. It's
that I'm absolutely in love with.
It is the Mercy Thompson books by Patricia Briggs. And so
absolutely amazing books.
So I am going to leave this to you because I don't read these books. I don't know a lot of the characters.
I've been trying to get him to read these books.
It's a lot of books to read.
Yeah, well, I've got the audiobooks if he ever wants to sit and listen to them. But yeah, this series obviously doesn't just focus on them, but there's a couple in this book that I absolutely fell in love with. It's my favorite couple, and it is Kyle and Warren. If anyone doesn't know what these books are about, they're about pretty much a shapeshifter coyote, which is Mercy, living next door to a pack of shapeshifting werewolves.
She loves shifter stuff.
Yes,
she really
I do.
Does.
Wolves are my spirit animal. So, but Kyle and Warren, I just remember when I first started reading about them. Kyle's this sassy divorce lawyer, to put it blankly, Mercy actually says he could look good in anything. He could wear a paper bag and he'd make it look like it was $1 million. That's just how Kyle is. And then Warren he's one of the werewolves in Mercy's husband Adam's pack. So he would, because he's gay, he can't be the second, because he is one of the most dominant wolves under Adam. So he falls to the third, which means he's pretty strong and powerful, but he's also very old. He's a cowboy. That's when he was turned. So he's got, the way they describe him, he's got this strong southern drawl. The more pissed he gets, the stronger it gets.
There's a stereotype there.
Yeah, I know. But that's, like, I don't know. These two, the way that they fit together, they're just an awesome couple. I don't know how else to describe them. I wish I had art of them. I don't know if the graphic novels ever did. I never found any, and I didn't want to share any fan art because there wasn't a ton of them yet, but fingers crossed we get more graphic novels so we can actually see these two. But they are just amazing couple. I mean, there's a book in that series called Shifting Shadows, which actually has some of Warren's stories in them.
Is that one on that
It's
picture?
not listed there.
Okay.
But if you search Patricia Briggs' books on her website, you can see every single book she has. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple other characters that you could probably have ships for in there. I think Ben's one of them, and he's British. Yeah, they're from all over the place. But they're definitely my two favorite, next to Mercy and Adam.
Well, there you guys have it. This, wow, 51, almost 52 minutes going.
And to think this still isn't the end of our list.
No.
But I think this is a good place to stop with a second video for now.
Yeah. So that will bring an end to Pride Month 2021. Hope you all enjoyed every video we did. I know the Bumblebee one is doing very, very well.
Oh, a note about the shop. Because of how many problems we've had with me trying to get videos up, orders, work, that's why I kept trying to showcase some of the Pride stuff I had online. It's not in the shop yet because I had some issues that I finally fixed. It'll still be added to the shop and it will always be available. Even if it's not Pride Month, it will still always be available, and I'll probably extend any Pride sales through maybe the rest of the summer, just to give it longer. Yeah, it's just website and technical stuff is interesting.
You might have wanted to say that before we did an almost hour-long video.
It's fine.
Ain't no telling how many people will actually watch this all the way to the end.
I'll put a time marker in there or something. Store note.
Or you could put a highlighted comment.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is going to be all for us on this. That was a lot of talking. But this is why we didn't do it in one whole video, because yeah, this is literally over 2 hours worth of stuff. So hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, click that like button. As always, guys, this is Kanan.
This is Jessie.
We love you all very, very much. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.